The film depicts for me, how conflict puts a lot of strain on the human rights of everyone involved.
Absolutely, yes.
Is that something that you had in mind going into creating the film?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I wanted to touch on this tumultuous event that took place 70 years ago, the partition of India, that very few people in the world know anything about. But it was the biggest forced migration in human history. 14 million people made refugees overnight. So I grew up under the shadow of partition. For me, Viceroy's House, my movie, is an attempt for me to shine a light on those events and to go back and interrogate the history of why certain decisions were made, in whose interest were they made, and how they affected the ordinary little people. People like my grandmother, who found herself on the wrong side of the border that was created, and with her and her 5 young children, had to basically flee in the clothes that she was in, losing her baby daughter along the way to starvation. So that was what I wanted to do, explore that moment in history. And in the film, you see it is the agendas of political leaders that come into conflict, that are generally given importance as opposed to the impact on little people. It was a terrible time. Many people lost their lives. It was terrible violence, and very mismanaged politically, instigated politically and mismanaged politically. But for me, as a filmmaker, I always have to find the humanity in a situation, and I always have to find hope. And part of that comes from me being a mother. We just have to. The good thing is now with the internet, we do get to get behind the news stories, and we do see the humanity and plight of people, and it does move us, and I think it does affect change. I mean, when we were shooting this movie, I have a big scene with refugees. I had 1,000 extras, and these were extras who were dressed up to be period refugees, but the day we started shooting that sequence was the day the little Syrian boy was found washed up on the beach. And suddenly we were like, oh my God, we're depicting 70 years ago here, but that's just happening literally up the road from India, in Syria. And suddenly we just felt what we were making here was not necessarily a period film, but a film that had contemporary resonance. Question the agendas of people. Why do countries go into other countries? What is really the reason behind this? And when war or turmoil is brought to another country, how is it going to affect the little people? Because that's the problem, really. We've got so used to big sort of powerful leaders and statistics going into other countries and doing stuff, and then when we hear about ordinary people, it's getting affected by this. It's good that we're hearing about it, more and more, but and really what the film is saying, we shouldn't let people get away with it.
Yeah, exactly. It's
much easier to divide us and rule us, but if we're unified, we're harder to rule.